Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Andrew Yang, and we're going to talk about the Thunberg Biden chasm. All right. So Greta Thunberg was recently named Person of the Year by Time Magazine. It's a huge accomplishment for Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg, just in case anybody on the planet doesn't know, she's a young European teenager who is probably the most prominent climate activist on the planet. I don't think anybody's more famous for climate activism than Greta Thunberg at this point, anywhere on the planet. I think she's clearly the most famous climate activist anywhere, which is pretty incredible. I mean, if you're literally a teenager and you're the number one thing in the world for anything, that's pretty incredible, right? So Greta Thunberg has really accomplished a lot. Some of the things that she has done to get there is mostly she's spoken. She's done a lot of speeches to world leaders, right? She also traveled to America on a sailing ship as part of her, climate activism uh, dedication, right? Which is really interesting. And so, she's like, really, hey, the earth is burning. We need to do a lot to save the earth, right? So she's very major climate activist, right? But I think Greta Thunberg has opened up a huge opportunity for Andrew Yang, right? Now, here's the thing. Greta Thunberg, there's two major groups that pay attention to her. The young pay attention to Greta Thunberg because she is young, and of course she resonates with the young because she is young, and young people like to listen to young people. That makes a lot of sense, you know. We're seeing that old people like to listen to old people, like that. That's one of the reasons why we have three 70-year-olds running for president right now as the top three candidates for the Democrats. Wow, it's a huge problem. Andrew Yang's got to take care of it. He's got a big issue to deal with there, and we're all trying to figure out a way around it. This septuagenarian, octogenarian, nonagenarian issue, right? But the young are the same way. The young like to listen to the young, right? So young people really have a lot of love and respect for Greta Thunberg, right? And Greta Thunberg, and then the media. The media absolutely love to listen to Greta Thunberg because she's young, right? And the young like to listen to her, and the media understands if you get young viewers turn into decade-long purchasers for advertisements. So it's just a very strong economic incentive for media to connect with young viewers. It's a very logical, very direct connection, right? Okay. All right. So I'm going to read you two different quotes from one from Joe Biden and one from Greta Thunberg. So this is the first quote from Joe Biden. This happened in the January Iowa CNN debate number 7. And Joe Biden said the following. He said, "We can create," and this is where I agree with Tom Tom Steyer. "We can create millions of good paying jobs. We're the only country in the world that's ever taken great crisis and turned it into great opportunity." Listen to that. Listen to that carefully. Great crisis, great opportunity. Listen to what Greta Thunberg has to say about that, right? She said this in January of 2019. This is what she has to say about economics and climate, right? Like, listen to this. All right, this is what Greta Thunberg said in January of 2019. "It seems like money and growth are our only main concerns. And since the climate crisis is a crisis that has never been treated as a crisis, people are simply not aware of the full consequences of everyday life. We are now in a time in history where everyone with any insight of the climate crisis that threatens our civilization and the entire biosphere must speak out in clear language, no matter how uncomfortable and unprofitable that may be." Did you hear that? Right? Like, all right, so this is the Thunberg Biden chasm, right? Greta Thunberg is saying, listen, we're in a climate crisis, right? That means an emergency, and you hear people say that emergency all the time. Emergency, crisis, climate, right? And then you go and you talk to Joe, and he says, great crisis, great opportunity, right? This is like calling up your fire company and you're like, emergency. And they're like, emergency. We understand. We're going to stop and get a latte. This is going to be a very comfortable, awesome, wonderful job for us. It's going to be triple time for us. And we're here. It's going to be a great job. We're going to stop and get lattes. And we're going to get new equipment. And we're going to refurbish the entire firehouse, and we're all gonna get new titles and new duds, like, and you're like, dude, my house is burning, right? Like, could you not, like, redo your equipment now, right? Like, and so that's the issue, right? And this is a huge opportunity for Andrew Yang to step forward, right? So Greta Thunberg, who's got the ears and eyes of the media, right, is calling Joe out from January 2019, and Joe clearly is not listening to Greta Thunberg, right? He doesn't care. He's like, oh yeah, crisis, climate, whatever. Yeah, jobs. I can spin this. And Joe's doing what a classic politician does, right? Because Joe is a 20th century, he's a 1900s to 2000 politician. That's literally where he spent most of his time, and that's where his solutions are coming from, right? He's just like, Australia's burning, scorched koalas, jobs for people. I'm a politician, jobs for people, right? And Andrew Yang, this chasm, this Thunberg Biden chasm, which Tom Steyer is right there too. He's doing the same thing. He's like, emergency, lots of great jobs. Greta Thunberg doesn't. I can't hear her words. Blah blah blah. Mute. I don't hear Greta who? Thunberg who? Tom Steyer apparently has never listened to a Greta Thunberg speech. Right? She's saying clearly, hey, this ain't about jobs and opportunities and new equipment and lots of shiny new union positions. Right? This is a real crisis, a real emergency, and you need to stop talking about profit. Right? And you need to stop talking about great jobs and innovation and technology, right? Like, and the reality is, and this is absolutely true, that Greta Thunberg's right, like that. One of the reasons why the young are so incredibly frustrated is there isn't any connection between this, right? Like, you don't attach opportunity and and everybody's shining and saying, hey, this is going to be lots of, there's so much opportunity. Everything's going to work out. This is going to be great for everybody. Lots of jobs, lots of opportunity, new equipment, new innovation, new technology. This is all going to work out. Emergency, emergency, crisis, crisis, crisis. You see how those words don't match? They don't match, right? And guess what? People are listening, right? And you know what the part they're forgetting? They're forgetting the emergency crisis part. They really are, right? They're hearing, oh, good jobs, technology, innovation, yeah, cool, that's fine. Where's my cheeseburger and where's my big block pickup truck? Because this ain't a real emergency or crisis if you're talking about new jobs, new equipment, and opportunity, right? And so here's the thing, right? Which way should Andrew Yang go on this, right? I'm not positive, right? I'm not positive so one thing I love about Andrew Yang's approach is the nuclear fusion solution, right? He's down for a renewed embrace of nuclear power. So am I. I love tech and technology, right? And I really do think that the solution to climate change is technology. However, right, one of the things that is a very real problem, and frankly, I don't have the solution on this one. I really don't. I don't fully have the solution on this one, right? And I really try to avoid doing this, coming forward and pointing out a problem without a solution, right? But this one's very complex, right? And everybody in the world's trying to solve this, right? But I will tell you right now, the Thunberg-Biden chasm, which also includes Steyer very clearly, right? Another reason that I'm not calling it the Steyer chasm is nobody cares about Steyer. He's not even a real candidate, right? Like it's just his own. It's a personal redemption narrative. He doesn't have a real campaign, right? He made all his money, funding coal companies, and he feels sad about that, and so he's trying to make himself feel better. That's what his whole campaign is about, right? And he should feel bad about funding coal companies for decades, right? But I feel it's kind of weird to do like climate activism to make up for it. It seems strange. Anyway, all right. So I think it's the Thunberg Biden chasm is very real, right? And this is incredibly confusing for Americans. It is incredibly confusing for Americans, right? What's real? Is emergency crisis real, or is innovation and opportunity and technology and jobs? Which one of those sets of things is real, right? Because Americans aren't taking you seriously when you say both, right? They're saying pick one, right? And that's real, right? We need real consistency in political language, right? And Andrew Yang is honest. He is consistent. He is intelligent, right? And I think he can see a problem for what it is, right? And right now he's got one thing he does have, right? One thing he does have is money. He also has a lot of brilliant analysts, right? And he's got writers and staff, right? And I really think they should get in a room and figure this out, right? And one, I think they should acknowledge the Thunberg Biden chasm, right? I think it is incredibly wrong for Biden and for Stiers to pretend that Greta Thunberg doesn't exist. She does, right? And she has stated this clearly, right? She's like, hey, these two things don't match, and we need to be real and honest about this, right? And we need to start have matching language, right? And I agree with that, right? And so I would really love Andrew Yang to come forward and acknowledge this Thunberg Biden chasm and saying, hey, there's a lot of weird language that's happening right now, and we need a real plan, right? And redefine even his own plan, because I think there's so much confusion right now, right, of what the real situation is, right? Because if you listen to Biden, like it's hard. Like Biden is really like listening to Biden is like listening to a call to the fire department is like, hey, the house is burning. Stop and get lattes at Starbucks for all the firefighters that are coming. And you're like, what? Is it a tiny fire like that is in the backyard, or like what's the situation? And so it's super confusing. And I think and the other reason why I'm calling this out now is the gap is important. Right now we are in these Mordor days, these dark days where we missed this last debate, and it's a problem, right? So we need to start identifying gaps where the people who made that debate, right, and are getting the shine from that debate, right, and are getting the media attention from and coverage from that debate, right, make the words they spoke in that debate painful for them, right? And Biden should pay for those words. They were confusing. They ignored Greta Thunberg's existence, right? And they open a huge opportunity for Yang, a huge opportunity, right? And so he should step right into that chasm, right into the gap of opportunity, right? Which is the Thunberg Biden chasm. And he should bring clarity with a new language and help clarify what is the real path forward, right? And because right now I think there's a lot of confusion, especially if you listen to Biden, and and I think Yang should just nail Biden to the wall politically for this confusion and for ignoring Greta Thunberg's existence. I think it's an opportunity. I think Yang should move on it. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.